Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Astra on Icebox. Today's day 77 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Astra is one of my favorite agents to play. But a map like Icebox isn't really made for an Astra. Icebox is more of a map for wall controllers like Harbor and Viper, but Astra having really big smokes and also her ult being a wall can also be played on this map, but I think it isn't quite as good as a Harbor and a Viper. Starting off with A-side defense. On A-side defense, you have a couple of options for defensive smokes. One thing that doesn't work on an Astra, that does work on most bubble smokes, is a one-way smoke like this, because as you can see, this smoke goes out pretty far and the one-way effect isn't really there, because it also goes down to the floor. What this allows you though, is to be able to play inside of the smoke, wait here close, then get out in a pretty safe manner, even though you can get peeked from here. It is really unexpected and usually you are able to jump around this corner and get to safe. Another smoke you can use, that's the one I actually recommend most of the times, it is this one here close. This one allows you to get the ult orb if you want it. It allows you to play close in it. It allows you to play close here, which is a pretty hard spot to get you out of, unless they have like a Sova drone or something like that. It also allows you to play close here, and it allows the enemies not that many spots to get into sight from, and main is just going to be smoked off. The other smoke I recommend is one like this. For this one, I actually recommend you play in it, because you can play here close, wait for anybody to walk in. You can also play behind it, right here. This is a really unexpected spot, and it will net you most of the times at least some kills. Because also, if you stand right here, you can't really be seen from main, and you can only be cleared out if somebody walks all the way over here. And in general, this one is pretty good to hold the enemies from getting into sight. If you place it a little farther in, like right here, you can also play out of it, because they won't be able to go into the smoke right here and go for a plant on the side. The other smoke you can also use is one over here. This one is not as good in my experience, but it can also work for example, if you're playing close here with a Stinger or even with a Vandal or a Phantom, you can play in it. And a thing you can also do is, if you place it a little further out, you can hide in this corner right here. As you can see, you can hide here. You just have to worry about people coming close on top. So this is a thing you can do, especially good on eco rounds, where you, for example, have Sheriff, but then you also need to take your time with your shots and try to get at least 2. And then other things for defense, if you have this close smoke right here and you think the enemies are going to come out because they use, for example, a flash or some util, you can use a stun like this. This stun can be played off of if you play close here, on top, or even below. Same with over here. As soon as somebody comes out, you stun, you collect your kills. I also recommend you can play it from here, wait for the stun to go off, and then peek out and collect free kills on the people that are stunned. Other than that, there's not really that much you can do on a side on defense, unless you're going for a retake. On a retake, it is really important that you clear out every angle one by one. So you can use a star like this one and recall it, so you can go to backside, focus more on the people that are playing close here, then go over towards main and focus the rest of the people. What you can then do is either a smoke up here or a smoke here to shield you from the angle that is from belt, or from the people that are playing in main. I wouldn't recommend both of the smokes, one of them usually does the job, and then you save a second smoke for the spike. Just place it right here. It will block off the default plant spot, it will block off Chen, and it will also block off this spot right here, and you can just go for the diffuse or just even tap, so you get a lot of the util out of the enemies. Other things you can also do is to stun this area right here, or even suck it with an Astra stun and an Astra suck. You can use them combined like this. You get like almost all of the area in main, and you make it really hard for the enemies to play close here and peek out, or to play close here and peek out. Other things you can also do is, if you know somebody's in this corner right here, use a stun here. Same thing also with a suck, and then combine that with, for example, some damaging util, or just hold them while your teammate is going for the diffuse. Switching over towards mid. On mid you also have a couple of options. If you want to play really aggressive in mid, you can use a smoke all the way back here. This smoke only really works on an Astra. And this smoke allows you to walk up pretty close. You can also use that as a recall smoke, by the way. If you want to just walk down mid like this, and you are not sure if you're getting held by somebody, you can place the star, recall, walk out, and then clear out every angle one by one. And the only thing you have to worry about if you place this smoke and you want to play aggressive in main is the people that are playing on top of blue, or the people that are already out. But in general, if you play aggressive in mid, you shouldn't do it as an Astra. But if they ask for a aggressive mid smoke, you can like say you're gonna smoke right here and ask for some other util, maybe a flash or something like that to clear out the close area right here and not give the enemies a lot of space in mid. Another thing you can also use is a smoke right here if you are going down tube. Pretty much it's the same thing. You kind of have to worry about this gap right here. If you don't place it fully right, they can still hold you through this gap. But in general, smoking in mid is not the greatest idea. You can just usually save a star for mid. If the enemies are coming mid, you can use a stun right here, or even inside of tube, but you have to like get into a different spot. And you can then play off of that stun. If you hear them going up tube, stun, wait for the stun to pop, and then peek out and collect the people that are stunned. Switching over towards B now. On B, you have more options. One thing I really like doing is to place a close smoke right here. If you feel like the enemies are coming B, to make them afraid that somebody is pushing up close, you can obviously do that. You can even go inside of the smoke. If you have a teammate that's holding you, you can get the orb. Or you can also use this star as a recall star, just to get the early space here in B main and get an early information. The smoke will fade. You can then fight the people that are playing close here, or that are trying to go for the orb. You can also just place that star and wait for the orb tap. You can then use a suck or a stun, and then peek out and collect the free kills on the enemies that are going to be sucked and stunned. Then another smoke you can use is one up here, again as a one-way. I don't really recommend that smoke, but it can be used as a one-way, for example, from right here, and it makes it pretty hard for the enemies that are trying to walk out of B main. If they walk out here, you'll see their legs first, and you can shoot them before they can even see you. And then to the last smoke I recommend, it is one like this. This smoke is pretty good to play in and around with. You can play in this close corner because you're pretty hard to spot. You can even play inside of the smoke, wait for somebody to walk in. You can play all the way close here. You can also play behind yellow because this smoke allows you to go over back towards site if you have somebody holding this area right here. And without a smoke right there, this isn't possible. Or you can also use just a recall star. If you are stuck behind yellow, use a recall star, jump around the corner, and you're pretty much safe. And then for the retake, a pretty good thing on a retake is a star right here. And use that one as a stun or a suck. If you want to do a lot of damage, use it as a stun. Because most of the times the enemies are not going to be able to get away. If they peek out, they're gonna die. So use it as a stun. If you want to keep the enemies in that area and then use some damaging util, I would recommend a suck. And it also doesn't allow the enemies really to peek out, and if they peek out, it is a pretty free kill. And then for smokes, one up here to take the space, and then one close here. If they have planted close here, in this corner, or just anywhere that is visible from main, a star like this will suffice, because it covers most of the site, and you can then just start diffusing. You can also start diffusing over here. Yeah, and this is in general a pretty good one. If they have planted top side, obviously smoke top side. And yeah, this is in general what you do on an Astra on a retake and on defense. Now switching over to Astra's ult. On defense, you're mainly going to use it on retake. I wouldn't recommend to use it pre-retake because it is one of the best retake tools you have. Because firstly, they can't hear what is happening on the other side of the Astra wall, and it also blocks any shots the enemies are trying to shoot at you. And in general, it's an insane retake tool. For A, there's two pretty good options. The one I like the most is this one, because it allows the enemies to not take that much space, and your team can play in a lot of different spots if you're trying to go for the defuse. They can only walk through here, or up here, or even jump all the way up. And if you have a chat or somebody that can updraft here and just hold the enemies from up here while they are trying to walk out, or even jump all the way up, and with a flash peek through the wall and kill all of the enemies that are playing in front of it. And then the other option, the one I don't like as much, is this one. This one is pretty good if you have a aggressive team that likes to push stuff, like if you have somebody close here and you just want to go for a safe defuse behind the wall. It cuts off all of the site, and in general it does the job also pretty well, but you have to think, yeah, there's more spots where they can come through. So if your team is all the way stuck on backside, use the one in front, and if your team has already taken that space, use the one that is going back here, because your team is holding in front of the smoke either way. Switching over towards B. On B, there's two different options you can use. The one I like more is this one. This one is pretty good if you're just trying to go for the defuse, because the enemies again can span through, and if they peek through, it is a pretty much a easy kill for you. But you have to still use a smoke on the spike. So if you have somebody playing in front of the smoke, it will help you a lot. You could just wait close here, have somebody hold this area right here, and it should be a free defuse. Then the other option, the one I don't like quite as much, but it also does the job pretty well, is one like this. Further behind. It allows your team to take more space and hold from more open angles, but it also allows the enemy team to peek out back here. If you have nobody holding the space, they can walk all the way up to here and then kill the person that is trying to go for the defuse, or do a lot of damage to them. But this one is a pretty good one if you have more space on the side. Switching over towards attack now. On attack, you have a couple of different options for smokes. One thing I recommend you can do almost every round is to place a star right here and then recall it, because this allows you to walk out here with a lot of people, even if the enemies have somebody peeking aggressive here, peeking on top of Chen, playing aggressive here, because what this smoke does, it one-ways the person that is close. So anyone that is trying to peek out here close is gonna get one-wayed if they want to peek even further out. Anyone that is playing on top is gonna get smoked off, so they can't peek you. And anyone that is trying to hold you from here has to go for a timing shot, and then they have to leave, because you can not hold all of the spots. If you're up here, you can hold this spot or this spot. If you're further out, you can even hold this spot, but you can't hold all of these three spots together. So a recall smoke is a pretty good thing you can use to take this space right here. Similarly, you can use a recall smoke up here to allow your team to peek out of belt and isolate the angles that are this angle right here. This is one I showed you on a other Icebox video already, and you can then take the space right here pretty easily. For stuns, I recommend either one close here, close here, close here, or even backside. But the one on backside, I would recommend you use a suck. For the other ones, it doesn't really matter which one you are using. If you want to peek it, I recommend a stun. If you want to use some util to clear it out, I recommend a suck. Now to the smokes you need to take the site with. It is pretty simple. Use one right here and use one right here. Make sure it is more to the front though. This one is the more important one, because it allows your team to take the space right here. But it also allows the enemies to hold from back here and maybe even walk through. So be aware of that. There's going to be a gap in the smoke either way. And you don't want to have the gap on the right side, because you can get held by this spot right here if you place it too far behind. So make sure there's no gap here. The gap here in the back you have to think of, but it isn't quite as important that there is a gap there. And the second one, pretty simple one, you can use it up here and hold the enemies that are trying to come out. If you want to use a ult, I recommend you use a ult like this one, similarly to a Viper or a Harbor Wall, and then use another smoke back here to hold the enemies that are trying to come out of rafters. This ult is pretty good to take the site, and it is the one I recommend, even though I would recommend you use your ult towards B. And then for the post plant, I always recommend to keep at least one star, so you can go for a suck on the spike, and you can play pretty safely all the way in the back, either holding flank or holding an angle for your teammates. For example, if you have teammates that are playing close under, you can hold the angle above them, because they are gonna have the people that are coming behind them. Or you can hold this angle right here if you think, yeah, your team has lost the space already, you need to hold this angle. Or again, just hold flank. And then as soon as somebody goes for the tap, if you know they are on the spike, you can use a suck to get them off of the spike. Switching over towards mid now. On mid you have a couple of options you can use for smokes. One that is pretty good is the one in mid right here, all the way in the back. It is important that it is in the back, because the people that are holding mid can hold mid from under here, so you need to block off this angle. And the further back you have, you can also peek into the smoke and then walk through with, for example, a flash or something like that. And this allows you to lurk over mid and go in towards tube. And if you want to take mid in a different way, you can use a smoke right here and take the space in mid. Also care about B, and then go over towards A if you're deciding to split A through mid. For stuns, I recommend you use them either here in towards kitchen. If you wanna, if you know somebody is holding you from here and you're trying to peek it, you can use a star right there, stun, peek out. You can also use it all the way back here if you think they are playing it a little further back. Switching over towards B now. On B, a smoke I recommend is one like this. This one is a recall smoke you can use to take the main space pretty easily. I showed it to you as well on defense. The reason why you smoke it on defense is to hold this space and make the enemies afraid that you might push. And the reason you recall it on attack is to just take the space in a more effective way. Because it allows you to walk out with a lot of people, and then the enemy that is playing, for example, an AWP can get one shot off and is going to get traded after. Similarly with a Vandal, if they see somebody, if you see somebody close, they might get a kill off, but then you can just trade that person. And then for stuns, I recommend either one right here, one right here, one top side, one close underside. And these stuns are for the most common angles, so sometimes there's somebody in this close corner right here, so you can use a stun or a suck. If you place the star a little further in front, I recommend a suck, because you clear out this box and you clear out this angle here close. This star right here is for the people that like to play an AWP. If you stun right here, it is pretty hard for them to play an AWP. Most of the times, if somebody plays an AWP, they're either playing it here or on top of yellow. The one on top of yellow is pretty easy to get around with the recall smoke in main, and the person that is playing close here can just hold you and then dash away if they are a jet or a waylay or a chamber. That's why you use a stun right here. With the new updates on chat, you are not gonna get as far anymore with a dash if you're stunned, and the person is gonna get stuck in the open and gonna be a free kill for your team. The one on top is one I recommend you use pretty late. And I also, you can also use that one as a smoke. In general, I don't recommend using the smoke on top. I recommend something other that I will tell you later about. This one is pretty important. Most of the time somebody is playing close here, you can use this one as a stun or a smoke. That's why this is a pretty good one. And yeah, the one on top is just for the people that are trying to play on top, and you want to get them off of the angle to be able to go for a plant right here. Then for smokes, I recommend one smoke right here, one smoke right here. These are the two most common angles people are playing in. One is being close here. They can play inside of the smoke. That's why I also recommend to either recall this smoke or use it as a stun, because the people that are playing close are gonna think that they can play inside of the smoke. They're just gonna wait here, and if you use it as a recall, they're not gonna be ready, and if you use it as a stun, they're gonna be stunned and you can collect your free kills. The one in the back is a pretty important one. If you have somebody holding you from snowman, you can block them off with just this singular smoke, and it is a pretty good one to take the side with. And then the option for a third smoke, if you don't want to use the one close here, or if you use that one as a recall or a stun, you can use a smoke up here to stop the people from top side of peeking you. And then to the ults, you can use two different ults. One is the same exact one as a Viper wall, this one like this. You have to worry about a fast flank though from the enemies, because you can't hear anything through the wall, and the enemies are going to be able to take a lot of space. Or you can use a wall like this one. If you want to go for the space all the way behind and take snowman for your team as well. Combined with that ult, I recommend you use a star right here as a recall star. And then fight the people that are holding snowman, and to give your team more space. You can then go for a plant right here, or go for the default plant right there. If I had to give Astra a rating from S to F on Icebox, I'd actually only give her the B tier. She is pretty good at using her smokes, because Astra smokes are the biggest smokes in the game, and you can use her, but I think bubble smokes controllers have nothing to do on a map like Icebox, because there's just too many angles you have to smoke off, and you can better do that with a wall and less with a normal smoke. So that's why I think she's only a B tier, even though her ult is a wall. You also don't really get as much value out of the rest of the Astra's abilities, like the suck and the stun are pretty good, and the recall can also be used in certain situations, but it is really dependent on what your team is doing, what the enemies are doing, and I think you just need a lot of coordination to use a Astra on Icebox, and you just don't get that in ranked games. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agents on any other maps, write them down in the comments. And if you want to see anything else Valorant related, write it down there as well. And as always, don't forget to like and sub, and come say hi to me on Twitch, where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!